Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, I do trust you enjoyed my last video from Aussie band Dynamic Hepnotics and through the song Soul Kind of Feeling. We looked at, what's it like to have that groove about you and how much of a positive difference that can be in this world today. So trust you found that one encouraging. We're going to an actor, incredible piano player today, born in 1935 in central London, but he was predominantly brought up in Essex. He was born with inward-facing feet, and so his family were a bit concerned about how that was going to go. In fact, there wasn't much affection for him growing up as a kid, and he was in and out of hospital for the first 7 years of his life. The guy we're talking about is Dudley Moore. Now, certainly bullying was part of Dudley's early life, but he used comedy to overcome those times, and certainly that would set him up for his future career. At the age of 11, because as I said, Dudley Moore is an incredible piano player. We'll get onto one of the well-known clips of his in a minute. At the age of 11, he received a music scholarship, so there we go. So he thought he was going to sort of be a musician for life, but the show Beyond the Fringe came in 1960 because he realised he actually did enjoy comedy. And he was one of 4 writer, director, performers of Beyond the Fringe. And it was through that show that he met Peter Cook. Now, where Dudley Moore was kind of the funny, quirky sort of guy, Peter Cook had the deadpan delivery. In between the two of them, they were in the show not only, but also that went from 1964 to 1970, sort of one of the comedy duos of the 1960s. In 1966, the British TV Award, British Performing Arts gave them a TV award for Best Performance. After things got a bit strained, as they often do in performing relationships, and then went on to establish his own career. There were many movies, many television performances, and many live performances. Of course, one of those movies was Arthur, and together with co-star Liza Minnelli, was the story of a rich playboy drunk all the time. Of course, Dudley Moore wasn't like that. He was actually quite straight most of his life. And but very much that won him an Oscar nomination. Of course, he didn't actually get the win that year, but to get nominated is a pretty amazing thing. And Arthur is sort of one of those movies that Dudley Moore will always be remembered for. He received the Commander of the British Empire in 2001, which is pretty amazing. But it was discovered around 1999. It was announced that he had progressive supranuclear palsy. Pretty debilitating disease, that one. And see this guy so full of life, and the way his life ended, not the best of ways. In fact, he died in 2002 at the age of 66. Now, what can we take out of the Dudley Moore story? And I think what we'll do is we'll actually look at some of the clips to really bring this guy to life. So as I said, he was an incredible piano player, like classically trained, brilliantly, be able to remember all sorts of things. And so one of his so they certainly in the Not Only But Also series, they use the piano quite a bit. And this is this is going back a little while with Dudley Moore and Peter Cook with this thing on piano lessons. And what they've done is they've combined piano terms with police and breaking traffic codes. A very hilarious look at that indeed. A pianissimo means really fast, presto, all those sort of things. You'll get the idea. And of course he gets a ticket for speeding a piano. So you get to see how well Dudley Moore and Peter Cook played off of each other, and how well they actually related to their audience. Dudley Moore was a bit of a larrick and a bit of a lad, and people just responded so well to his character. We then go to the Muppet Show. Now, if you got on the Muppet Show, you know you had made it. Now, there's a couple of clips from the Muppet Show when he appeared there in 1979. We've got the first start of the series where he's doing Mum It Out Loud, and you get to see how incredible of a piano player this guy is. He's kind of doing the whole singing, dancing, and comedy all at the same time. And of course, he gets the Muppet Band offside with this machine. So very, very funny. And then in part B of that story on that same episode, Animal, who of course was the uncontrollable drummer in the Muppets, he just can contain himself any longer because the band's thinking, hey, you're doing us out of a job here, what are you doing? So we got Dudley Moore on the Muppet Show. Of course, again, if you got on the Muppet Show, you know you had made it. You just had to be a certain way about you. The Muppets were also really good at bringing out the talent of their guest stars. All sorts of people got on, and Elton John, John Cleese, amongst many others. And then we go to the Arthur movie. There's a couple of scenes from this one. We just got a general montage of just a few of the clips to that iconic Caught Between the Moon and New York City, which we actually will get onto a little bit more next time because we're doing Christopher Cross next time, because it just makes sense to do that. So we've got a bit of a montage of just a few of the iconic scenes of Arthur, and we've also got a scene with his father telling him he's being cut off from $750 million. So there we go. That was very much a springboard to Arthur having to change his ways. And then we get on to probably one of the things that Dudley Moore is really, really famous for, and this is when he combined a Beethoven sonata with a bit of comedy and a bit of all sorts of things. And here we get to see how brilliant this guy is on the piano, how he brings comedy into it, how he just, and in typical classical musical style, where the music endings of pieces tend to go on for so long, or Dudley Moore does this, and he does it over and over and over again. And just when you think this thing is finishing, it keeps going. So this is the brilliance of Dudley Moore, was the way that he was actually able to play and bring comedy and just his personality into everything he did. The story goes, in not only but also that Dudley was thinking he needed something to do as a bit of a solo thing, and so he came up with this thing pretty much on his own. This is how talented Dudley Moore actually was. And if any of the Moore family are actually watching, I'm sure you think back on Dudley with fondness, and I'm really, really sorry for the loss and that horrible disease that took his life. And so the links to those, many clips today are in the description below, and I've also included my last video from the Dynamic Hepnotics, so if you want to recap on them, feel free. So what can we take out of the Dudley Moore story? I think this is that there's so much capability to us as human beings. Why do we need to restrict ourselves to one thing when we can actually put, as Dudley has had many strings to his bow: comedy, music, jazz. He did do there was a few recordings as well, jazz trios and all sorts of bits of things, and of course his movies. And because of that, the world got to love him. And so, yeah, I think the story to take is, please don't be restricted to just one thing. Think about everything that makes you who you are. And despite Dudley Moore's adversity too of his disease, defeat at the start, he was able to have a pretty amazing career. So then let's not restrict ourselves completely to this life. Well, if you have come back for another one, or this is your first time to Life Reflections Through Music, thank you everybody for coming back and for being here and for hanging around to the end. Now, as I already said, it made sense to look at Christopher Cross next time, seeing he rose to stardom with the theme song from Arthur. So that's where we're heading next time. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.